Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're making our way back down to the arena for the next section here this afternoon. We're underway with the Gold Buckle second round of competition. We're at the 101 contestant mark. We'll welcome our judges back to their position here very, very shortly. Of course, it's with great pleasure and distinction we have Wayne Smith here from Tamworth, Dave Reeder from Gameri, and from Glen Innes in northern New South Wales, Tom Williamson as our official judges. Special thanks to Wayne McDonald, our surface manager, keeps that ground in excellent condition with 368 competitors throughout this second round of the competition. We thank Wayne and his hard-working and dedicated team for the upkeep of the arena conditions. Just a reminder, we've got a stallion draft that is, of course, due to time and cattle availability. Will be an addition here at the Willinga Park campdrafting program. It's a jackpot stallion draft to be held after the ladies' presentation on Friday. Our entry fees are $250. 100% of the nomination fee will be put back into prize money, paying out the top three place getters. Now, nominations are being taken at the information stand this morning between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. today. That's payment must be made when nominating via FPOS. So please bring that card. And if you've got any questions, Lauren will be over there between 10 and 11 a.m. That is for the Stallion Jackpot Camp Drafting competition to be staged here on Friday after the ladies' presentation competition. Just a very quick update on our progressive leaders in the two-round competition. It's great to see Matt Moffat holding down number one spot with 181.67, riding Snapchat. Harry Steger, Bell's Magic, sits second with 179. Ben McNaughton has progressed through to number three at 178.33 with Django, and rounding out the top 3-4 place gettings, Ben Hall also shares that third, fourth spot with Hall's Cosmo with a score of 178.33. They're the top four in the progressive rounds of our competition. Of course, the semi-finals coming up here on a Saturday afternoon. Something to certainly look forward to, the big round of competition not all that far away. We're going to start this division here with the first contestant on the camp in our catalogue at 101, Keneal Bashaz, riding Overtime. Overtime is a horse that she has nominated herself. And from Mafra, and 102 to be at the gate is David Murphy with Sheedy Showday, and 103 Philip Collins, not that far off. Just a reminder at the conclusion of our second go-round of the Gold Buckle here this afternoon, between 6:30 and 7:30, we've got the cutout qualifier. That's always a great afternoon to wind up day number two of competition. Then we start back here tomorrow morning at 8:30. 8:30 will be the ladies' dash for cash. And then following that, the semi-final. That'll be the Gold Buckle semi-final between 12:30 and 3:30. And later in the afternoon, the ladies' dash for cash final and presentation. So a big day. That'll be Friday, the 3rd of May, starting at 8:30 tomorrow morning with the ladies' dash for cash competition.
Wayne, right to let the competitor in.
Just as we get set for our first contestants in this round of the competition, a very special thanks to our naming rights partners. That's the Willinga Park, of course, supporting the naming right partner in Ringers Western. Ringers Western was formed in the rugged Kimberley region of Western Australia in 2012. Ringers Western will always be inspired by its roots. Like a ringer, Ringers Western with its grassroots simplicity, high standard of design and quality. It is tough, adaptable, sometimes cheeky, but offers you class and loyalty. The basis of grassroots simplicity, high standard of design and quality sets Ringers Western way ahead of the mob. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our attention comes back to the camp as we will progress on here this morning with contestant 101, Keneal Bashaz, with overtime in the camp. On the camp, we're watching Keneal Bashaz with overtime. David Murphy at 102 at the gate, please. 103 is Philip Collins, and 104 Troy Palmer with Willinga Metallic Wildcat to be on standby. We're watching on course Keneal Bashaz with overtime, a nomination that Keneal has put forth from MAFRA. Into the camp, following on at 102, David Murphy, Sheedy Showday. We'll have a score through for Keneal, riding overtime at 101. We look down to the camp, it's in there at this point of time. Sheedy Showday, David Murphy in the saddle. And at the gate will be Philip Collins, Yvonne Moore Ice. Scores are now coming through for Keneal. 16 for camp, 57.67 for horsework, 4 for course. Total today of 77.67 with an 82 yesterday. Gives her a grand total of 159.67. Now on course at this point of time, we've got 102, David Murphy. Riding Merck and Kate Showen's nomination, Sheedy Showday from Talbot. Into the camp, we're looking for 103, Philip Collins. 104 at the gate will be Troy Palmer with Willinga Metallic Wildcat. That, ladies and gentlemen, was Sheedy Showday, ridden 102 in the competition by David Murphy. Scores are coming through for Sheedy Showday. We've got a 20.67 in the camp. 62 points for horsework, 4 for course, 86.67. The first round score yesterday of 78.67. Grand total of the 2 rounds, 165.33. 165.33. Our attention now shifts to the camp. Philip Collins with Yvonne Moore Ice. 104 at the gate, Willinga Metallic Wildcat and Troy Palmer. 105, Matt Durkin with Minx. And 106, Jason Penny with One More Curry. To be ready, please. Okay, we're watching on course at this point of time. This is David Murphy riding Sheedy Show Day, nominated by Merck and Kate Schoen. .103 it was indeed. Phil Collins, Yvonne Moore Ice. At a camp score of 15.67 for Philip. 15.67, had an 82 in the first round, 97.67. Our attention now shifts to 104 in the program, and on the camp is Willinga Metallic Wildcat. Representing Willinga Park, ridden here this afternoon by Troy Palmer. At the gate, Matt Durkin with Minx, 106, we want Jason Penny, and 107, Scott Bandy. We're watching on course at this point of time from Cooler in the central west of New South Wales, 104, Troy Palmer, riding Willinga Park's representative, Willinga Metallic Wildcat. Into the camp, we want now 105, Matt Durkin with Minx, 106, Jason Penny, and 107 will be Scott Bandy. That was Willinga Metallic Wildcat and Troy Palmer at 104. Scores are coming through for Willinga Metallic Wildcat and Troy Palmer. We had a camp score of 19.67, 60.33 for horsework, 4 for course, 84 points in this round, 88.34 yesterday. It's a grand total 172.33, 172.33. On course, this is Minx, ridden by Matt Durkin in this round of the competition. Durkin these days makes his home in Tamworth, nomination that he had put forth. 106 into the camp will be Jason Penny, 107 Scott Bandy at the gate, and 108 Bruce O'Dell. And the scores have come through for Minx, Matt Durkin's nomination. We had a camp score of 21.33. Horsework of 61.33. 4 for course. This round, 86.66. 86 in the first round. He's consistent. 172.67 for Matt Durkin and Minx. Watching into the camp, this is Jason Penny. Jason Penny riding his nomination. One More Curry joins us from Gunnedah in the northwest of New South Wales. Into the camp, we turn to 107, Scott Bandy. Travis Bandy's nomination from Tooma. 108 at the gate, Bruce O'Dell. 109, Robert Chamberlain. At a camp score of 21.67 for Jason Penny with One More Curry, 21.67, 21 in the first round, 42.67. We're watching on camp at this stage. Beneri Memphis with Scott Bandy at 107. Little horse that has been nominated by young Travis Bandy from Tuma. 108 into the camp, Bruce O'Dell with Duckaloo. 109, Robert Chamberlain. 110, Pat Hardwick. And 111, Ronnie Punnigan with Destiny of Her Own. Time. Have a score coming through for Scott Bandy, Beneri Memphis. We got a camp score of 21, 48.33 for horsework, 3 for course, 72.33 today, 80.33 yesterday, 152.67, 152.67. Just a very quick announcement. We've got some loose horses up below D block. Now, I'm led to believe they could either be Hinksberger's or Josh Gibson's horses. So, that's only being relayed to me through staff on ground. So if you've got horses you haven't seen lately, if you could just check those horses aren't the ones that are out loose in the paddocks above D block at this point of time. We're watching on the course at this point of time. This is Bruce O'Dell riding Count Duckula. He'll be followed into camp by 109, Robert Chamberlain. With that is Ashcat Repack. 110, Pat Hardwick with Cool Running. 111, Ronnie Punnigan. We've got the scores coming through for Count Duckula. With Bruce O'Dell, we've got a camp score of 21.67, 61.33 for horsework, 4 for course, 87 points today, 87.67 yesterday in the first round, 174.67 for Bruce O'Dell. Move down, we're watching on course as we speak. This is 109, Robert Chamberlain's nomination, Ashcat Repack. Nominated by the Chamberlain family from Bombala. And the scores are coming through for Ashcat Repack. For Robert Chamberlain at 109, we've got 18.67 for camp, 60 points for horsework, 4 for course, and we've got a score of 82.67. First round score of 19 from yesterday, 101.67. 101.67. Our attention down to the camp. This is 110. This is Pat Hardwick. Riding Cool Running. That also makes his home in Hawthorn. Into the camp, we're looking at our next contestant, Bryony Puttigan, with Destiny of Her Own. 112 is Chris Nicholson, and 113, Stephen Hart. We've got a score coming through for Cool Running and Pat Hardwick's nomination. We've got a camp score of 20.33. We've got a horse work of 60.67, 4 for course, a grand total today of 85. Had an 85.33 yesterday for a grand total of 170.33. Pat Hardwick and Cool Running. We've got 111 on camp, Brioni Particum, Destiny of Her Own. 112 at the gate is Chris Nicholson with Palmer's Maybelline. 113, Stephen Hart with the Metallus. Once again, just a reminder, the Jackpot Stallion Draft to be held after the ladies' presentation on Friday. Nominations $250. Now, Lauren is over at the program office at this point of time taking entries for that competition, taking information stand between 10 and 11. Payment must be made when nominating via FPOS. That is for the Jackpot Draft to be staged here after the ladies' presentation on Friday. Bryony's scores come through with Destiny of Her Own. We've got a camp score of 15.67. Had a camp score yesterday at 20.67, 36.33. We're watching on camp 112. This is Palmer's Maybelline, ridden by Chris Nicholson. Chris, one of our local competitors from the Maruya region. He'll be followed by 113 at the gate, Stephen Hart. Riding the medalist, 114, Matty Holtz with JMD Fascinator, and 115, John Turvey, not that far off. Time. Well, we look to the camp, the contestant getting ready will be Steve Hart, the medalist, 113, 114 at the gate, Matty Moffat with JMD Fascinator, 115, John Turvey, and 116 here this morning will be John McKay with Stratton, Guest of Charlotte. Okay, scores come through for Chris Nicholson, Palmer's Maybelline. We've got a camp score of 19.33. 50.33 for horsework, 3 for course, grand total of 72.66. Added with a 20-point cutout yesterday, 92.67 over the 2 rounds for Chris Nicholson and Palmer's Maybelline. On course, we're watching here this morning. This is Steve Hart's nomination. This is the medalist. He'll be followed by 114, Matthew Moffat, JMD Fascinator, into the camp. And that is a completed run on that occasion for the medalist and Stephen Hart, 113 in the catalogue. 114 on the camp now is Matthew Moffat, JMD Fascinator. 115 at the gate is John Turvey. 116, not that far off, is John Mulcahy. Steve Hart's score comes through, 21.67 camp, 59.3 for horsework, 4 for course, 85 points here today. Had an 85.33 yesterday. Grand total over the 2 rounds of 170.33. 170.33. Shifting down to 114, Matthew Moffat on camp, JMD Fascinator. At the gate, we want John Turvey, Willinga Park Fable, and 116, John Mulcahy. 117 in the competition is Notorious and Charles Tapp. Now this is Matthew Moffat on JMD Fascinator, nominated by D and J Bell from Cabra. Into the cab we now have 115 John Turvey, 116 John Mulcahy, 117 is Charles Tapp, and 118 is Matt Shaz. Once again, another full course completed by Matthew Moffat, enjoying the weekend here. Scores come through, and it is 24 in the camp, 63 for horsework, 4 for course, 91 points today. Had a 91.67 yesterday. That gives him a grand total of 182.67, and I can tell you he has moved to number 1 in the 2 rounds of our competition. That's JMD Fascinator, Matthew Moffat representing D and J Bell's nomination. On course as we speak, this is John Turvey riding Willinga Park Fable. This is one of Terry Snow's nominations for the competition. And it's great that John joins us here this weekend from St. George. Well, this is without any doubt a great lineup of cattle that we've seen here today in this round of the competition, and a very special thanks to all of the staff from Willinga Pastoral Company out there at Hillview. They've presented these cattle in absolutely superb condition for the sport of camp drafting, hence the reason that we've seen so many great runs over the first 2 rounds of our Ringers Western Wear Gold Buckle Camp Drafting competition. Scores come through for Willinga Park Fable and John Turvey. We've got a 22.33 for camp, 64 points for horsework, 4 for course, 90.33, had an 83 in the first round, 173.33 for John Turvey. On the course at this point of time, this is John Mulcahy, 116, Stratton Guest A Charlotte. Makes his home in Roma. We'll have 117, Charles Tapp, Notorious, 118, Matt Bashaz, Obenvale Ali, 119 is Josh Barnett, Duck Dynasty. Had a camp score coming through for John Mulcahy, had a 22 for camp, had an 88.67 yesterday, 110.67. That, ladies and gentlemen, was Charles Tapp with Notorious, 117 in our competition. Number 118 into the camp will be Matt Bashaz. Number 19, Josh Barnett, 120, Mark Buttsworth. We've got a camp score coming through of 21, 62 points for horsework, 4 for course, 87 points in this round, 73 in the first for Charles Tapp, 160 over the 2 rounds, 160. We're watching on course this time, Matt Bashaz. B&K Bashaz nomination from Mafra, Obenvale Ally. At a camp score of 21.33 yesterday, 42.33. Into the camp, we welcome down this time from Singleton in the Hunter Valley. This is Jay Barnett and R. Roberts nomination, Duck Dynasty. 120 at the gate, Mark Buttsworth. 121, Vicky Evans. 122 is Toby White. We're watching on course this time. Josh Barnett, Rebecca Roberts nomination from Singleton. This is Duck Dynasty. Josh Barnett in the saddle. Into the camp, we look for Mark Buttsworth with Branchvale Metal Alloy. 121, Vicky Evans will be at the gate. And 122, Toby White with Smith Family Dulcie. Well, he gets it done once again. Josh Barnett from Singleton with Duck Dynasty. Scores are coming through for Josh Barnett and Duck Dynasty. We've got a camp score of 22.67, 60 points for horsework, 4 for course, 86.67, had an 89 in the first round, 175.67 for Duck Dynasty and Josh Barnett. Watching on course, 120 Branchvale Metal Alloy, Mark Buttsworth in the saddle, representing Roger Grant here this afternoon. Mark makes his home these days in Kingaroy. Following Mark into the camp, we will want Vicky Evans at 121, 122, Toby White, 123 will be Ken Bolton. Okay, we've got a score coming through for Branchvale Metal Alloy. Mark Buttsworth at 120. We've got a camp score of 23, 59.67 for horsework, 4 for course, 86.67. Had a 70.33 in the first round, 157. It is for Mark Buttsworth and Branchvale Metal Alloy. We're watching on course, 121. This is Vicky Evans. Tallawald Classic Destiny. Into the camp, our next contestant, 122, Toby White with Smith Family Dulce. 123, Ken Bolton, and 124 is Cameron Webster. Had a camp score for Vicky of 22, had a 21 in the first round, 43 in total. We've got on camp this time, 122. This is Toby White representing the Smith Family Dulce. And this little horse nominated in the competition by Rochelle Hinksberger from Dumbalk North. Be followed by 123 in the camp, Ken Bolton. 124, Cameron Webster, and 125. Time. On the camp, 123, we've got Ken Bolton with Obenvale Alamo. 124, Cameron Webster at the gate with Lucille, and 125. Inga Jensch will be on course soon. Okay, scores are through for Toby White. We've got a 21.33 for camp, 55.67 for horsework, 3 for course, 80 points in this round, 78.67 in the first, or total over the 2 rounds, 158.67. Our attention now turns to the arena. Ken Bolton with Obenvale Alamo. 124 in the camp, Cameron Webster with Lucille. 125, Inga Jensch with Mumbula Perch, and 126, Toby Rolfe with Breeze. A camp score of 22-22 for Obenvale Alamo, and Ken Bolton had a 21.67 in the first round, 43.67 over the 2 rounds, 43.67. We're watching on camp Cameron Webster with Lucille at 124 in the draw. 125, Inga Jensch, 126, Toby Rolfe, and 127 is Campbell Boileau. That, ladies and gentlemen, was Cameron Webster, 124 in our competition, riding Lucille. We'll turn our attention to the camp. Next up, 125, Inga Jensch with Mumbula Perch. 126 at the gate, Toby Rolfe, and 127, Campbell Boileau. Now we've got the scores through for Cameron Webster. Riding Lucille, 21.33 for camp, 62.3 for horsework, 4 for course. Today we've got an 87.66. First round yesterday was 89.33. Grand total 177 for Cameron Webster and Lucille. Moving right along, 125. Inga Jensch will be our next competitor. Mumbula Perch, 126 at the gate, Toby Rolfe, and 127, Campbell Boileau. We're watching on the course. This is Mumbula Perch, Inga Jensch, 125 in our competition. 126 into the camp, Toby Rolfe with Breeze. 127 with Campbell Boileau riding Royal Scandal. 128, Glenn Peacock not far off, and 129 is Kelly Smith with Cinderella. Scores are coming through. We've got a score for Ingarong of 19.33. Had a first round of 18.33, 37.67. We're watching on course Toby Rolfe, our next contestant. We are watching, joins us from Barrel. Rating his nomination, Breeze. 127, Campbell Boylo, Royal Scandal, and 128 was Glenn Peacock. That was indeed, on that occasion, Toby Roth. And our scores are coming through for our previous competitor, Toby Roth with Breeze. Had a camp score of 19.33, 59 points for horsework, 4 for course, grand total of 82.33. Yesterday's round was a 79.67. Grand total of 162 points for Toby Roth and Breeze. 127 on camp, we're watching Campbell Boylo with Royal Scandal. 128 at the gate will be Glenn Peacock with Condor, and 129 Kelly Smith with Cinderella. Our competitor we're watching this time, Campbell Boylo's nomination, Royal Scandal from Goulburn. Campbell's scores come through with Royal Scandal, 18.33. Had an 18 in the first round, 36.33. Shifting our attention down to 128 in the camp, this is our contestant that joins us from Dummo in the Central West, representing the Peacock family. This is Condor, ridden by Glenn Peacock. At the gate, we'll have Kelly Smith with Cinderella at 129, Hugh Miles with Smooth Talker at 130, Pete Comiskey, not that far off, with Nashville Royal Destiny at 131. We're watching on course this time. This is Condor, ridden by contestant number 128, Glenn Peacock. Okay, we'll have our next contestant on camp. This will be Kelly Smith with Cinderella. Kelly joins us from Tumut, and she'll be riding Bernie and Kelly Smith's nomination, Cinderella. At the gate, we do require Hugh Miles, Smooth Talker, not that far off, Huey. Followed by Pete Comiskey and Ben Maidham at 132. Scores are 15 in the camp for Glenn Peacock and Condor. Had a score of 78.33 yesterday, gives him a grand total of 93.33. Just one final reminder, don't forget if you've got stallions you'd like to nominate for the Jackpot Stallion Draft to be held after the ladies' presentation here on Friday. Entry fees are $250. 100% of the nomination fee goes towards the prize money, paying the top 3 place getters. Nominations are being taken between 10 and 11 here today. Of course, right now as we speak, over in the Information Centre, Lauren's over there taking entries. Make sure you take your FPOS card. It'll be all about payment on the day. $250 for that Stallion Jackpot Draft here on Friday. Last chance to get those entries in. Okay, that was Kelly Smith, 129 in the competition with Cinderella. We'll move on to our next contestant, only moments away from Hugh Miles, riding Smooth Talker. 131 at the gate, Pete Comiskey, he will be ready with Nashvale Royal Destiny. 132, Ben Madam's back with Moxie Storm. And at 133, Joanna Coke with Rosie's Estap. We're watching on course at this point of time. This is Hugh Miles' nomination. He joins us from Tamworth in northern New South Wales, home of his base, and of course an outstanding line of horses that he transports down here to Willinga each and every year for our Ringers Western Wear Gold Buckle Championship campdrafting event. We're watching on course Smooth Talker Hugh Miles at 130 in our draw of competition. 131 next in will be Pete Comiskey, 132 Ben Madam, and 133, Joanna Coke. Scores have come through for Hugh Miles and the Smooth Talker, 22.67 for camp, 57 points for horsework, 3 for course. Grand total today of 82.67, backs it up with an 86.67 yesterday, 169.33, 169.33 for Hugh Miles and the Smooth Talker. Attention chefs to 131 in the draw. Pete Comiskey joins us here this afternoon with Nashvale Royal Destiny. 132 at the gate, Ben Madam. 133 is Joanna Coke, and 134, Richard Barnett. And on course, we're watching Bronnie Ponticum's nomination, Nashvale Royal Destiny, ridden by contestant Pete Comiskey from Nebo. Pete is a 3 times winner of the Willinga Gold Cup Ringers Western Wear campdrafting competition. Looking to make back to the semi-finals for tomorrow afternoon. That's another completed course for Nashvale Royal Destiny. Bronnie Ponticum's nomination. Look down to the camp. Next in, 132 is Ben Madam with Moxie Storm, 133 Joanna Coke, and 134 Richard Barnett. Scores are coming through for Pete Comiskey. We've got a camp score in this round of 16.67, 61.67 for horsework, 4 for course, 82.34 today, 83 yesterday, 165.33, 165.33. Move down and we're watching on course Ben Madam in action. Ben Madem is riding Zeb Pearce's nomination, Moxie Storm. Ben these days makes his home at Bective on the western side of Tamworth. Horsebreaker, trainer. He'll be followed in camp by Joanna Coke, 134 Richard Barnett, and 135 Matthew Moy will be back. Scores have come through for Ben Maiden. We've got a camp score of 21, 62.67 for horsework, 4 for course, 87.67 in this round. Had a good round yesterday of 88.67. Grand total of 176.33, 176.33. We are watching on course contestant 133, Joanna Coke with Rosie's Estap. Had a camp score of 20.33. Had a camp score yesterday of 18.67. Grand total, 2 rounds, 39 points. On course, our attention shifts to 134. Ophir Westbar, ridden in this round of the competition by Richard Barnett. Richard Barnett's nomination joins us from Singleton. He'll be followed in camp by Matthew Moy with 135, 136 Matty Holtz, 137 will be Mick Ottom. We're watching our Singleton contestant on course as we speak. This is Richard Barnett riding his nomination. Ophir Westbar. Well, makes it up on that final peg, gets it done, and that's a complete course for Richard Barnett. 134 in the catalogue. 135 in today's draw is Matthew Moy, will be into the camp with Mondalissa. 136 will be Matt Holtz, and 137 Mick Otten. Scores have come through for Richard Barnett. We're at a camp score of 18.67, 61.67 for horsework, 4 for course. Today's score of 84.34. Had a first round score in the competition yesterday of 82.67. Grand total of 167, 167. Moving down as we look to the camp where there's Matthew Moy in competition. Matthew Moy riding Kooyong Pastoral Proprietary Limited, Condalissa. Matthew makes his home these days at Sutton Forest. Had a camp score today of 21. Had a camp score yesterday of 19. We've got a grand total of 40 points over the 2 rounds. Grand total of 40 points over the 2 rounds. Move on to our next contestant, 136. This time it'll be Matt Holtz in action with Hazelwood Country Blues. On camp, we're watching at this point of time 136 Hazelwood Country Blues. This is Kooyong Pastoral's Proprietary Limited nomination from Jindra. Matty Holtz in the saddle. 137 Mick Otten will be next into the camp, please, Mick. 138 will be John Mitchell, and 139 will be Dean Rogers. That will complete the course on that occasion for Matty Holtz with Hazelwood Country Blues at 136 in our competition. 137, looks like he's making his way into the camp, is Mick Otten riding Mambula. Mambula Monterey will be our next contestant on camp. John Mitchell, Dean Rogers and Troy Palmer. Well, unfortunately, he'll go out with yesterday's round. Mick Otten, a score of 85 points, 8-5. Next into the camp here this afternoon will be John Mitchell. With Duck and Daisy, 139 will be Dean Rogers with Archie. 140, Troy Palmer with Binya Sniper. And 141, Ben Hall with Hall's Poetic. We're watching on course at this point of time. This is John Mitchell. Joins us from Tooma, riding his nomination, Duck and Daisy. 139 into the camp next. We will see Dean Rogers. 140 at the gate will be Troy Palmer with Binya Sniper. And 141, Ben Hall's back with Hall's Poetic. 142, Fiona Holtz. Scores are coming through for Doc and Daisy. John Mitchell had a camp score of 22.33, 58.33 for horsework, 3 for course. Grand total today of 83.66, 79 in the first round. Total over the 2 rounds of 162.67. We are watching on course 139. This is Dean Rogers with Archie. Little horse nominated by Sophie Parbury. Makes his home at Bega. And once again, completes that course. That was Archie, Dean Rogers, contestant 139 in our competition. On camp at this point of time, this will be Troy Palmer with Binya Sniper. Troy is representing the Palmer family partnership of Troy and Fiona Palmer from Cooler in the Central West. Scores are through for Dean Rogers and Archie. We've got a 22 points for camp, 62.67 for horsework, 4 for course, 88.67 today, 81 points in round number 1. 169.67 for Dean Rogers, 169.67. Watching on course, Binya Sniper from Cooler, Troy Palmer in the saddle. 141 to follow on from Troy will be Ben Hall with Hall's Poetic, and 142 Fiona Holtz with Hardy. Once again, we've seen another full course presented here on that occasion from Binya Sniper, Troy Palmer at contestant 140. Into the camp, we look down at 141. It's Ben Hall from Julia Creek making his presence felt here this weekend. This is Ben and Jay Hall's nomination, Hall's Poetic, contestant 141. Scores are through for Troy Palmer and Binya Sniper. We've got a camp score of 16.67. Horsework a 61.67, 4 for course. Today's round 82.34. At a first round of 21.33, grand total of 103.67. 103.67. Well, from Julia Creek, we welcome him all the way back down here to Willinga Park. Ben Hall at contestant 141, Hall's Poetic. 142 at the gate, we'll have Fiona Holtz, 143. Harry Steiger with Jesse J. And that is our contestant from Julia Creek down here this weekend. That's Ben and Jay Hall's nomination, Hall's Poetic, contestant 141 in the second round of our Ringers Western Wear Gold Buckle Championship campdrafting event. 142 into the camp. Fiona Holtz will be our next contestant. Her nomination from Jindra, riding a little horse called Hardy. Scores have come through for Ben Hall with Hall's Poetic. It is a 16 points for camp, 57.67 for horsework, 4 for course, 77.67 on day number 2. Had a first round score yesterday of 20, total of 97.67. Watching on the course is 142, Fiona Holtz with Hardy. Into the camp, Harry Steger with Jesse J. 144, Josh Gibson with Acres Outlaw. Had a camp score for our previous competitor, Fiona Holtz with Hardy, 21. Had a first round score of 73. Gives her a grand total of 94 over the 2 rounds of competition, 94. Just a reminder, tomorrow morning we will start at 8:30. 8:30 will be the first round of the Ladies Dash for Cash. We will then come back with the Gold Buckle round semi-final around about 10:30. And then, of course, the Ladies Dash for Cash final, grand final ceremony and presentations. And around about 1:45, 1:45. Later on this afternoon, something not to miss will be the cutout qualifier. That'll run from around 6:30 till around about 7:10 this evening. All times are approximate. Moving right along, Harry Steger, Jesse J at 143 in the competition. 144 at the gate, we want Josh Gibson with Acres Outlaw. 145, Kim Stocks, and 146, Zane Haberman. We're watching on course this time. It'll be Harry Steger. Jesse J on the course. Enjoying a great weekend down here this far. and completes the course. A young man having a great weekend. That's Jesse J, contestant 143 in our competition. 144, Josh Gibson. 145, Kim Stocks. And 146 here today, Zane Haberman. 147 will be Ben Cowdery with Miss Blue Acre. We're watching on course this time. It'll be Josh Gibson. Josh's nomination, Acres Outlaw. Scores have come through for Harry Steger, 21.33 for camp, 61.33 for horsework, 4 for course, 86.66 on day number 2. Had a first round camp yesterday of 13.33, a grand total of the competition of 100 points. Watching at this stage, Josh Gibson with Acres Outlaw. Completing that course within the time limit here this weekend. Into the camp next will be Kim Stocks with 145. Zane Haberman, 146, and Crystal. And 147, Ben Cowdery with Miss Blue Acre. Scores come through for Josh Gibson's Acres Outlaw, contestant 144. We got a camp score of 21, 61 points for horsework, 4 for course. Total today of 86, had an 85.67 in the first round of competition. Grand total of 171.67, 171.67. Contestant on camp, this is Kim Stocks in action. Duran Jazz will be our next contestant. Makes a home at Cowra, TJ and KA Stocks' nomination. Duran Jazz. With a camp score of 20.67, 20.67, had a first round score of 79.67, 100.33, 100.33. Okay, let's move to 146 in the competition. This is Zane Haberman with Crystal on camp. Zane joins us from Springshaw. Lindy Thompson's nomination, Crystal. He riding in this second round of the Ringers Western Wear Gold Buckle Campdrafting qualifying round. We'll have a score through for Crystal and Zane Haberman very shortly. 147 on the camp will be Ben Cowdery with Miss Blue Acre. 148, we're down to Dan French with Comet. 149 is Brendan Fitzgerald's back, and 150 here this morning, Peter Bolton with Condo. Scores have come through for Crystal and Zane Haberman. We've got a camp score of 22.33, 56.33 for horsework, 3 for course. Today it's an 81.66. Yesterday was a 20.67. Grand total of 102.33. Well, our next contestant will be Ben Cowdery, 147 in the program. Representing the Cowdery family nomination is Miss Blue Acre from Cabargo, joining us here this morning. 148 at the gate will be Dan French, 149 Brendan Fitzgerald, and wrapping up the 150 mark will be Peter Bolton. That was contested 147 in our competition here today. Ben Cowdery, he'll go out with yesterday's camp score of 20.67. 20.67. About 3 to go, and then we'll have a change of cattle in the camp. We will at the 150 mark. Getting towards the halfway mark in today's competition, the second round of the Ringers Western Wear. Gold Buckle Championship Campdrafting, and remember we've got tomorrow morning the semi-finals of this particular event. The 70 gets serious when we come back to the semi-finals, looking to progress through to the final rounds. We look to 148 in the program. His name is Dan French. Dan joins us here today from Nimba riding his own nomination called Comet. 149 at the gate, Brendan Fitzgerald, and 150 will be Peter Bolton with Condo. 151 will be Matty Moffat, and 152 will be Carl Green. We're watching on course Dan French with Comet, 148, Dan, and he has certainly proceeded through that gate area. Will complete his run and time here in the second round of competition. Dan French riding Comet, contestant 148. 149 will look to the camp, should be Brendan Fitzgerald with Rainman. Dan French has scored. Riding Comet has just progressed through. 13.67 for camp. 58 points for horsework. 4 for course. 75.67. Gives him a grand total today of 156.67. 156.67. Turning to Roma for our next competitor. Down from the beautiful part of southeast Queensland. Brendan Fitzgerald. Rainman will be at 149 in our competition. His own nomination in this event. 150 at the gate, Peter Bolton with Condo, and 151, Matthew Moffat, not that far off, with Juliet. Great to see so many interstate riders competing here this weekend. Victoria, Queensland, right up as well, far as Camberwell, Julia Creek in the top end of North Queensland, right down to the Victorian Peninsula. And he'll be happy with the outcome on that occasion. Brendan Fitzgerald riding Rainman, contestant 149 in the competition. 150 into the camp before the change of cattle. This will be Peter Bolton. Matty Moffat, not that far off. We'll have a change of cattle before Matt comes in. And at 152, we'll look for Carl Green. Scores are coming through for Brendan Fitzgerald. Score of 22 points for camp, 62.33 for horsework, 4 for course. Today it's an 88.33. Rounds out yesterday's score of 84.66. Grand total for Brendan Fitzgerald and Rainman, 173. 173. Well, that on course that occasion was Peter Bolton riding Condo, contestant 150. 151, Matthew Moffat with Juliet, and 152, Carl Green. We had a camp score of 22 points. It was 22 points for Peter Bolton and Condo. Had a first round score of 86.33, grand total of 108.33. Well, at this point of time, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hand over to another one of our very passionate and lovely ladies here in the broadcast area. Leslie Deneen will take us through the next 50 competitors as we progress through here on day number 2 of competition, the Ringers Western Wear Gold Buckle Campdrafting competition. Thanks, Leslie, and we'll see you a little later on this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Glenn. We move now to competitor 151, Matthew Moffat and Juliet. Into the camp should go 152, Carl Green, standby 153, Ben McNaughton 154, Terry Smith 155, Kerry Turner and 156, Claire Holm. Score for Matthew Moffat and Juliet, cut out 23.33, horsework 61, course 4 for a total of 88.33, with an 89.67 in the first round. That's a 2-round total of 178 points, 178 for Matthew Moffat and Juliet. So a very big thank you to Gavin Beard and Glenn Morgan for co-announcing this week. Really appreciate your help. That was competitor 152, Carl Green and Homeboy. We'll have a score very shortly. Standing by 155, Kerry Turner, 156, Claire Holm, 157, Mark Palmer, 158, Jay Shannock, 159, Paige Nancaro, 160, Denny Farley, 161, Luke Hardwick, 162, Andrew Turvey, and 163 will be Hugh Miles. Score for Carl Green's Homeboy, cut out 21.67, horsework 64.33, 4 for the course, a total of 90, with a 21 in the first round, total of 111 points for Carl Green and Homeboy. Ben McNaughton is out on course, competitor 153 with Little Acre. Into the camp should be 154, Terry Smith, 155, standby, Kerry Turner, 156, Claire Holm, 157, Mark Palmer, 158, Jay Sharnock. 159, Paige Nancaro. And 160, Denny Farley. Score for Ben McNaughton and Little Acre, cut out 21.67, horsework 57.33, and 3 for the course for an 82. With an 88 in the first round, that's a lovely total of 170 points. 170 for Ben McNaughton and Little Acre. Looking over his cattle is competitor 154, that's Terry Smith, Rain on My Acres. Standing by 155, Kerry Turner. 156, Claire Holm. 157, Mark Palmer. 158, Jay Sharnock. And 159, Paige Nancaro. If those competitors could please stand by. Out on course, competitor 154, Terry Smith, Rain on My Acres. 155 is on camp, Kerry Turner with Hinkers. Standby 156, Claire Holm. Watching competitor 154, Terry Smith, Rain on My Acres. We'll get a score for you shortly. Score for Terry Smith and Rain on My Acres, cut out 21, horsework 55.33, 3 for the course for a 79.33. 85 in the first round, total 164.33. 164.33 for Terry Smith, Rain on My Acres. Out on course is competitor 155, Kerry Turner with Hingis. 156 on cam, Claire Holmes. Down by 157, Mark Palmer. Score for Kerry Turner and Hingis, cut out 21, horsework 62, course 4 for an 87. 16 in the first round, total score of 103. 103 points for Kerry Turner and Hingis. Next competitor is 156, Claire Holm, riding Tax Evader. Standby 157, Mark Palmer. 158, Jay Sharnock. 159, Paige Nancaro. 160, Denny Farley. 161, Luke Hardwick. 162, Andrew Turvey. Score for Claire Holm, Tax Evader, cut out 20 with a 19.67 in the first round. That's a total of 39.67. 39.67. Out on course, competitor 157, Mark Palmer and Palmer's Dynamic. Standing by 158, Jay Sharnock, 159, Paige Nancaro, 160, Denny Farley. Score for Mark Palmer and Palmer's Dynamic cut out 20.67 with an 87.33 in the first round, total of 108. That's time. We have a score coming through very shortly for competitor 158, Jay Sharnock and Hang Gem by Array. Cut out 22.33, horsework 59, course 4 for an 85.33 with 14 in the first round. That's a total of 99.33. 99.33 for Jay Sharnock and Hang'em by Array. And now watching competitor 159, Paige Nancaro with One Stylish Oak. Standing by 160, Denny Farley, 161, Luke Hardwick, 162, Andrew Turvey, 163, Hugh Miles, 164, Mark Buttsworth, 165, Pete Comiskey, and 166, Greg Charlson. Score for Paige. That'll be a cut out of 23.33 with a 22.67 is a total of 46 points. That's 46 points for Paige Nancaro and One Stylish Oak. On course, competitor 160, Denny Farley with Bits. Into the camp goes 161, Luke Hardwick. Stand by 162, Andrew Turvey, 163, Hugh Miles. Was competitor 160, Danny Farley and Bits. Danny has a cutout of 22, horsework 58.67, course 3, for a total of 83.67. With an 81.67 in the first round, that's a total of 165.33, 165.33 for Danny Farley and Bits. Next competitor is on camp, 161, Luke Hardwick and Boy. He's now out onto the course. Into the camp should be 162, Andrew Turvey and Ruby. Standing by 163, Hugh Miles, Connie, 164, Mark Buttsworth, Stylish, Abilene. But you're currently watching competitor 160, Danny Farley and Bits. Apologies there, that was Luke Hardwick and Boy, as cut out of 21.33 with a 79.33 for a total of 100.67. Just confirming Danny Farley has a total of 165.33. Next competitor 162, Andrew Turvey and Ruby. Stand by 163, Hugh Miles, 164, Mark Buttsworth, 165, Pete Comiskey. Out on course, competitor 162, Andrew Turvey and Ruby. Into the camp should be 163, Hugh Miles. Standing by 164, Mark Buttsworth, 165, Pete Comiskey, 166, Greg Charlson. This one's commonly known as Banjo's horse, Banjo's nomination. And that was Andrew Turvey and Ruby. Competitor 162. We'll have a score coming through very shortly for Andrew.
Honestly, could be out of 50 votes.
Cut out 22.33, horsework 60.33 with course 4. That's an 86.33 with a 21.33 in the first round. That's a total of 108 for Andrew Turvey and Ruby. On course now, competitor 163, Hugh Miles and Connie. Mark Buttsworth goes on camp at 164, stand by 165, Pete Comiskey, 166, Greg Charlson. Commencing tomorrow at 8:30, we'll be having our ladies' dash for cash. And don't forget, this afternoon at the completion of the second round of the Gold Buckle, we will be having the cutout qualifier. That's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll have a score very shortly for Hugh Miles and Connie, competitor 163. Cut out 22.33, horsework 61.33, 4 for the course for an 87.66 with an 81.67, gives him a total of 169.33, 169.33 for Hugh Miles and Connie. Now watching competitor 164, Mark Buttsworth with Stylish Abilene, Mark. Standing by then 165, Pete Comiskey, 166, Greg Charlson, 167, Scott Bandy, 168, Bruce Odell. Score for Mark Buttsworth, Stylish Abilene. Cut out 22.33, horsework 63.33 and 4 for the course for an 89.66 with an 89 in the first round. That gives him a total score of 178.67, 178.67 for Mark Buttsworth and Stylish Abilene. That was a 21.67 for Pete Comiskey and Brittany's Rodnan rip-off checks. That gives him a total of 108.33 with his 86.67s, 108.33 points for Pete Comiskey and Rodnan rip-off X. You're now watching competitor 166, Greg Charlton and Hoodlum. Into the camp should be 167, Scott Bandy, 168, standby, Bruce O'Dell, and 169, Pat Cleaver. That was competitor 166, Greg Charlson and Hoodlum. Score for Greg Charlson's Hoodlum, cut out 15.33, horsework 60, course 4 for a total of 79.33 with an 85.66. That's a grand total of 165 for Greg Charlson and Hoodlum. Next competitor is cutting out as we speak. It's competitor 167, Scott Bandy and Rooster. He's now out on course. Into the camp goes 168, Bruce O'Dell, standby 169, Pat Cleaver, 170, David Thorne, 171, Brett Trotter, 172, Brett Staines, 173, Cameron Webster, 174, Tony Pearce, 175, Rowan Marks, and 176 will be Alex Croker. If those competitors could please stand by. And that was competitor 167, Scott Bandy and Rooster. Score for Scott Bandy's Rooster, cut out 21.67, horsework 60.67, 4 for his course for an 86.34 with an 89.67 is a total of 176 for Scott Bandy and Rooster. $178 is next. It'll be Bruce O'Dell with One Time Smart. He comes in as competitor 168. Standing by then 169, Pat Cleaver. And unfortunately, no score there for Bruce. He goes out with a total score of 81.67. 81.67 for Bruce O'Dell, one-time smart. Adjustments have made in the camp, and we continue now with competitor 169, Pat Cleaver. Condoleezza Smooth, standing by then 170, David Thorne, 171, Brent Trotter, 172, Brett Staines, 173, Cameron Webster, 174, Tony Pearce. This competitor 170, David Thorne, one stylish duel. No. So sorry, that was Pat Cleaver, and Condoleezza Smooth had a cutout of 19.67 with an 83 in the first round. That is a two-round total of 102.67 for Pat Cleaver and Condoleezza Smooth. You're now watching competitor 170, David Thorne with one stylish duel. Standby 171, Brent Trotter, 172, Brett Staines, 173, Cameron Webster, 174, Tony Pearce, 175, Rowan Marks, 176, Alex Croker, 177, Troy Palmer, and 178, Geordie Stockdale. And we'll have a score very shortly for competitor 170, David Thorne, and one stylish duel. Cutout 23.33, horsework 63, course 4 for a total of 90.33 with a 22.33 in the first round. That's a total of 112.67 for David Thorne, one stylish duel. Out on course, we watch competitor 171, Brent Trotter, and Vintage Whiskey. 172 goes on camp, Brett Staines. Then we'll have 173, Cameron Webster. Hello. I'll have a cutout score for Brent Trotter of 15.33 with a 20.67 is a total of 36 points. Watching competitor 172, Brett Staines and Conrad. 173, Cameron Webster's on camp. Standby 172, Tony Pearce, 175, 174, Tony Pearce, 175, Rowan Marks. Cutout 18.67, horsework 61.67, 4 for the course for a total of 84.34 for Brett Staines, Conrad. 77 in the first round, that gives him a total of 161.33, 161.33. Currently on camp now is Cameron Webster, competitor 173, riding Concertina. Standing by 174, Tony Pearce, a contractor, 175, Rowan Marks, Turner Marks, Goolagong. Cameron Webster and Constantina have a cutout score of 15.67 with a 21.67. That's a total of 37.33. 37.33 for Cameron Webster and Constantina. We now watch competitor 174, Tony Pearce, with contractor. This is his own nomination. Tony comes to us from Goulburn. A cutout score for Tony Pearce's contractor, cutout 14.67 with an 84.33 first rounder, gives him a total of 99 points for Tony Pearce's contractor. Rowan Marks is now on camp. Rowan rides Turner Marks Goolagong. Just have a very brief break while we have a change of cattle. So don't forget, tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. start with the ladies' dash for cash. Of course, the action will all happen this afternoon, late tonight at 6:30 p.m. There will be the cutout qualifier. So don't forget to come across and certainly check that out. But we will have an afternoon of drafting with the Gold Buckle's second round of the Open, the Ringers Western Open Camp Draft. And we're underway again with competitor 175, Rowan Marks, with Turner Marks Goolagong. Into the camp goes 176, Alex Croker. Then we'll have 177, Troy Palmer. 178, Geordie Stockdale. 179, Graham Rosinski. That's time. Score for Rowan Marks, Turner Marks, Goolagong, cut out 21.67, horsework 56, course 3 for a total of 80.67. With an 88 in the first round, that is a total of 168.67, 168.67 for Rowan Marks, Turner Marks, Goolagong. That was competitor 176, Alex Croker and Circle Bar Adelaide. We'll have a camp score shortly, or a score shortly. 177's on camp, Troy Palmer and Big Red. Stand by then 178, Geordie Stockdale. 179, Graham Brzezinski. 180, Ben Matum. 181, Lockie Sim. 182, Andrew Sheridan. Score for Alex Crocker's Circle Bar Adelaide, cut out 21, horsework 55, course 3 for a 79 with a 75.67. In his first round, that is a total of 154.67, 154.67 for Alex Croker, Circle Bar Adelaide. We now watch a Willinga Park horse. This is Troy Palmer aboard Big Red, owned by Willinga Park. And Troy is out on course. Into the camp should be 178, Geordie Stockdale. Standing by 179, Graham Brzezinski. 180, Ben Matum. Watching competitor 177, Troy Palmer with Willinga Park's nomination, Big Red. Score for Troy Palmer and Big Red, cut out 22, horsework 62, course 4 for an 88, with an 86.67 in the first round. That's a total of 174.67. 174.67 for Troy Palmer and Big Red. $178, Geordie Stockdale and Lazy D Mystified is out on course. Standing by 179, Graham Brzezinski. 180, Ben Matum. 181, Lockie Sim. 182, Andrew Sheridan. 183, Ash Sheehan. Score for Geordie Stockdale and Lazy D Mystified, cut out 22, horsework 63.67, 4 for the course. It's a total of 89.67 with a 21.67 is a grand total of 111.33. 111.33 for Geordie Stockdale and Lazy D Mystified. 179's on camp, Graham Rosinski with GJ Hope. Standing by 180, Ben Matum, 181, Lockie Sim, 182, Andrew Sheridan, 183, Ash Sheehan, and 184, Matthew Moffat. Cut out 15.33. And a first round score of 88 gives us a grand total of 103.33. 103.33 for Graham Rosinski's GJ Hope. Selecting a beast now is competitor 180, Ben Matum with Matum's Opal. This is his own nomination. Standing by 181, Lockie Sim, 182, Andrew Sheridan, 183, Ash Sheehan, 184, Matthew Moffat, 184, Karen Penny, 185, Karen Penny, 186, William Chugg, 187, Charlie Hinksberger, 188, John Mulcahy, 189, Bryony Puttycombe, and 190 will be Josh Barnett. We watch competitor 180, Ben Matum, Matum's Opal. Score for Ben Matum, Matum's Opal, cut out 20, horsework 62.67, course 4 for a total of 86.87 with a 20.33 in the first round. That gives Ben Matum a total of 107 for Ben Matum, Matum's Opal. Now watching competitor 181, Lockie Sim and Destiny's Cherry. 182 goes on camp, Andrew Sheridan, standby 183, Ash Sheehan, 184, Matthew Moffat, 185, Karen Penny, 186, William Chugg. And that is time. That was a cutout of 21.33 for Lockie Sim's Destiny Cherry, add to his 79.6, gives a total of 101 points for Lockie Sim and Destiny's Cherry. And currently on camp is competitor 182, Andrew Sheridan with Shiro's Traditional Acres. Standing by 183, Ash Sheehan. And he's on course. Competitor 182, Andrew Sheridan with Shiro's Traditional Acres. This is Andrew's own nomination. Andrew comes from Wagga Wagga. Ash Sheehan goes on camp at 183, standby 184, Matthew Moffat. Cutout 20.67, horsework 61, course 4 for a total of 85.67 with a 14.6 in the first round. That gives Andrew Sheridan and Shiro's Traditional Acres a total score of 100.33. 100.33. We now watch competitor 183, Ash Sheehan with Knipes Stella. Standing by then 184, Matthew Moffat, 185, Karen Penny, 186, William Chugg, 187, Charlie Hinksberger, 188, John Mulcahy, 189, Bryony Puttycombe, 190, Josh Barnett. Please stand by. Out on course, competitor 183, Ash Sheehan and Knipes Stella. Matt's on camp at 184, standby 185, Karen Penny. It's a cutout of 21 with a 21.33 in the first round, total 42.33 for Ash Sheehan and Knipes Stella. Matthew has acknowledged the judges and he comes in as competitor 184 with Future Dreams. Standing by then 185, Karen Penny, 186, William Chugg, 187, Charlie Hinksberger, 188, John Mulcahy. Matthew Moffat we watch, competitor 184, Future Dreams. We'll have a score for Matthew very shortly. Karen Penny is now on camp at 185 with Bill and Luke Vince. Bibb and Luke Vince. Then we have 186, William Chugg. Score for Matthew Moffat and Future Dreams, cut out 22.63, horsework 63.67, 4 for the course for a 90.34. With an 82 in the first round, gives Matthew Moffat a total of 172.33 points, 172.33. And that was a cutout of 21 with a 19.33 in the first round. That's a total of 40.33 points for Karen Penny and Bibb and Luke Vince. Wandoan competitor, William Chugg, we watch, riding Bailey's Hooligan, and he's out on course. Competitor 186, 187 goes on camp, Charlie Hinksberger and Tango. Standby 188, John Mulcahy, 189, Bryony Puttycombe. William has a cutout of 14.67 with a 22 in the first round. That's a total of 36.67 for William Chugg and Bailey's Hooligan. We move down now to competitor 187, Charlie Hinksberger and Tango. 188, John Mulcahy stands by, standing by 189, Bryony Puttycombe, 190, Josh Barnett, 191, Ben Hall, 192, Rob Newton, 193, Bonnie Hiscock. Just take this opportunity to thank Willinga Park's naming rights partner, Ringers Western. Ringers Western was founded in the rugged Kimberley region of Western Australia in 2012. I'd also like to thank our principal partner, Forsyth, for their support in providing quality joint supplements to the horses here at Willinga Park. We'll have a score very shortly for Charlie Hinksberger and Tango. Was a cutout of 22.33, horsework 62.33, 4 for the course, for an 88.66, with an 81 in the first round. That is a total of 169.67, 169.67 for Charlie Hinksberger and Tango. Out on course then is 188, John Mulcahy with Stratton Gills into the camps, 189, Bryony Puttycombe, then we'll have 190, Josh Barnett.
Going down up there. Good.
Score for John Mulcahy and Stratton Gill, cut out 21, horsework 60.67, 4 for the course for an 85.67. With an 85 in the first round, that's a total of 170.67, 170.67 for John Mulcahy and Stratton Gill. We watch Nebo Horsewoman, Bryony Puttycombe and Moulin Rouge. She's out on course. Into the camp goes 190, Josh Barnett. Standby 191, Ben Hall. 192, Rob Newton. 193, Bonnie Hiscock. That's a cut out of 22. 22 there for Bryony Puttycombe. Had a 21 in the first round. That's a total of 43. 43 there for Bryony Puttycombe and Moulin Rouge. Next competitor, 190, Josh Barnett. Time is sweet. Then we'll have 191, Ben Hall. 192, Rob Newton. 193, Bonnie Hiscock.
15. Walk up!
That was competitor 190, Josh Barnett, and Time is Sweet. We'll have a score for Josh very shortly. 191 is on camp, Ben Hall. Standing by 192, Rob Newton. 193, Bonnie Hiscock. 194, Mick Southern. 195, Scott Shea. 196, Hugh Miles. Score for Josh Barnett's Time is Sweet, cut out 14, horsework 61.33, 4 for the course for a total of 79.33, with an 83 in the first round. That's a total of 162.33, 162.33 for Josh Barnett, and Time is Sweet.
Go.
We watch competitor 191, Ben Hall, Tamaroo Jackson. This is Ben and Jay's own nomination. Rob Newton goes on camp at 192, stand by 193, Bonnie Hiscock. 194, Mick Southern. 195, Scott Shea. 196, Hugh Miles. 197, Tom Shea. Score for Ben Hall and Tamaroo Jackson, cut out 22, horsework 63.67, 4 for the course for an 89.67, with an 80.34 first round score, gives a total of 170, 170. We're now watching competitor 192, that was Rob Newton and Badger. 193 goes on camp, Bonnie Hiscock, stand by 194, Mick Southern, then we'll have 195, Scott Shea. We have a cutout score of 20.67 for Rob with a 20.33, gives him a total of 41 points, Rob Newton and Badger. We now watch competitor 193, Bonnie Hiscock, riding Alvin. This is Bonnie's own nomination, and Bonnie and her family hail from Mafra. And she's out on course. Competitor 193, Bonnie Hiscock and Alvin. 194 goes on camp, Mick Southern, stand by 195, Scott Shea. 196, Hugh Miles. 197, Tom Shea. 198, Hannah Trainer. 199, Ken Bolton, and 200 will be Pete Comiskey. Cut out 21.67, horsework 61.67, 4 for the course for an 87.34 with a 79.67 in the first round. That's a total of 167 points for Bonnie Hiscock and Alvin, 167. Now go down to competitor 194, Mick Southern with Seligman's S Comet. Into the camp should be 195, Scott Shea. Standby 196, Hugh Miles, 197, Tom Shea. Cut out 17, horsework 63.33, 4 for the course, 84.33, second round total, first round total 22, total of 106.33, 106.33 for Mick Southern and Seligman's S Comet. This is competitor 195, Scott Shea and Morse's Checkmate. 196 goes on camp, Hugh Miles, down by 197, Tom Shea. And we'll have a score very shortly for Scott Shea and Morse's Checkmate. Cut out 18, horsework 62.33, 4 for his course, 84.33 total with a 79.67, gives a total of 164. 164 for Scott Shea and Morse's Checkmate. So this is competitor 196, Hugh Miles and Tilly. Into the camp should be 197, Tom Shea, 198, Hannah Trainer, 199, Ken Bolton. So we have approximately 130 horses left to run to complete the second round of the Ringers Western Gold Buckle Open Camp Draft. And we'll have a score for Hugh Miles and Tilly. Cut out 20.33, horsework 61, course 4 for an 85.33 with an 82.66. That's a final score of 168. 168 for Hugh Miles and Tilly. This is our next competitor out on course, competitor 197, Tom Shea and Renegade. Into the camp goes 198, Hannah Trainer. Stand by 199, Ken Bolton. Then we'll have 200, Pete Comiskey. As is the usual procedure, we will drag the arena at 200 and have a cattle change. And Hugh Miles has a cutout score of 20.33. Tom Shea has a 21 cutout with a 21.33 for a total of 42.33. 42.33 for Tom Shea and Renegade. There's a cutout of 21.33 for Hannah Trainer and EBS Ronaldo. 20 in the first round, that's a total of 41.33. 41.33 for Hannah Trainer and EBS Ronaldo. 199 comes on camp, Ken Bolton with Mewburn Tina Arena. Standing by 200, Pete Comiskey, Irvine's Just Jim. Then we'll have 201, Philip Collins, 202, David Murphy, 203, Chris Sherwood, 204, Gay McBurney, and 205 will be Rod Jackson. Cut out 20.67 with a 78.66 first round score. That gives Ken Bolton a total of 99.33. 99.33 points for Ken Bolton and Mewburn Tina Arena. And he's straight into it. Competitor 200, Pete Comiskey with Irvine's Just Jim. Pete's out on course. Into the camp goes 201, Philip Collins, Bob Jane. Standing by 202, David Murphy, 203, Chris Sherwood. Taking a short course to the gate is competitor 200, Pete Comiskey and Irvine's Just Jim. We have score through for Pete Comiskey and Irvine's Just Jim. Cut out 21.33. Horsework 63.67. 4 for the course for a total of 89 points with an 88.34 in the first round. That gives Pete Comiskey and Just Jim a total score of 177.33. 177.33. Now we are about to drag the arena. We'll just have a change of cattle, and when we come back we'll continue on with competitor 201, Philip Collins.